My beloved child, tonight, I want you to understand something gentle yet profound. The most powerful moments in love often happen in quiet conversations, when your name is spoken with a tenderness that surprises even the person speaking it. Somewhere, in an ordinary setting with a trusted friend, the person who cares deeply for you found themselves talking about your smile. They did not intend to reveal so much. They may have begun with a simple observation, trying to sound casual, but the softness in their voice told a larger story. Your smile was not described as a small detail. It was described as something that changes the atmosphere around them, something they carry in their thoughts long after you are gone. As they spoke, they struggled to explain why this single expression affected them so deeply. They said your smile arrives with a sense of warmth and reassurance, like the first light after a difficult night. It does more than brighten your face. It creates a feeling of safety and possibility. Even on days when they tried to focus elsewhere, the memory of your smile returned unexpectedly. It became the image they revisited when they needed hope, comfort, or the courage to believe that genuine connection was still possible. In speaking these thoughts aloud, they were admitting a truth they had quietly resisted. Your presence had become deeply important to them. Their friend listened carefully and recognized what your person was only beginning to understand. This was not a passing attraction or a fleeting fascination. It was the unmistakable sign that their heart had already made a choice. Long before they consciously admitted it, they had begun choosing you in subtle ways. They remembered small details you mentioned in passing. They noticed when your energy shifted. They cared about your happiness and felt concerned when you seemed burdened. Their attention to these quiet details revealed an affection rooted in genuine love rather than momentary excitement. Hearing this interpretation from a trusted friend stirred something powerful within them. They realized that their feelings had grown beyond what they could easily control or dismiss. Each memory of your smile carried emotional weight. They thought of the way your expression brightens your eyes, softens your voice, and communicates kindness without effort. They recognized that your smile had become the reason they checked their phone hoping for a message, imagined future conversations, and hesitated to distance themselves even when fear suggested they should. The truth was both exhilarating and unsettling. They cared for you more deeply than they had allowed themselves to admit. Beneath that realization lay a vulnerable question they have likely kept to themselves. Each time they see your smile, they wonder whether you understand the effect it has on them. They wonder whether you feel a similar pull, whether your warmth reflects feelings you have not yet spoken. They sense that something meaningful exists between you, but the possibility of losing it makes them cautious. Love often carries this paradox. The more precious a connection becomes, the more carefully people guard their hearts, not because their feelings are weak, but because they matter so much. Later, alone with their thoughts, they replayed the conversation and recognized how consistently they had been choosing you in silence. Their actions had revealed what their words concealed. They paused longer over your laughter than they did with anyone else. They remembered the stories you shared and the emotions behind them. They noticed your strengths even when you doubted yourself. They sensed moments of loneliness you tried to hide and wished they could offer reassurance. Your smile, in particular, became a symbol of everything they cherish: resilience, kindness, warmth, and the ability to make the world feel more hopeful. Sleep may have been difficult that night because the implications felt so significant. They imagined your smile as both gentle and powerful, carrying traces of the experiences that shaped you. They saw in it not only beauty, but honesty and emotional depth. That image led them to a question that transformed their understanding. What if this connection is meant to become something lasting? Allowing themselves to consider that possibility changed their inner world. What had once felt like uncertainty began to resemble a quiet but undeniable truth. The most important part of this story is not dramatic. It is deeply human. Someone you care about has come to recognize that your smile affects them because it represents safety, authenticity, and hope. In your presence, they feel more alive and more honest with themselves. Your warmth has encouraged them to imagine a future shaped by trust and affection rather than fear. They may still be gathering the courage to express these feelings openly, but their heart has already moved closer to you than they ever expected. So receive this message with a peaceful heart. Whether or not every word is spoken aloud today, the meaning remains the same. Your smile has become a source of comfort and inspiration to someone who values you deeply. It reminds them that love can be gentle, transformative, and profoundly real. And as they continue to understand the depth of what they feel, they are increasingly aware that some connections are too meaningful to ignore. In the quiet spaces of their heart, they have already begun choosing you, and that realization is reshaping their world with hope. Suddenly every hesitation made sense. Every fear became clear. Every emotional storm connected back to one truth. They've been fighting a feeling that has already rooted itself deep in their soul. But here's where the energy gets intense. Your person's friend didn't forget that conversation. They've been watching your person closely ever since, analyzing their reactions, observing the way your name causes a subtle change in their breathing. And today, that friend confronted your person again, asking them the one question your person wasn't prepared for. Are you scared? Because their smile reminds you of what real love feels like, and your person froze. It wasn't the question that shocked them, it was the truth behind it. They realized the reason your smile hits them so hard is because it awakens something they buried long ago. The part of them that believes in a future, in warmth, in connection, in a love that doesn't hurt. Your person is now struggling, not with the feeling itself, but with the intensity of it. They know your smile changed them. They know it's the reason they keep hoping. They know it's the reason they can't move on, even when they try. And deep down, they fear one thing more than anything else. What if your smile wasn't meant to stay in their life? This fear is eating at them, pulling them into a war between desire and doubt. But beneath that fear lies something stronger, something they can't deny anymore. The memory of your smile is pulling them back toward you. The universe is guiding them, pushing them, whispering for them to stop running. My beloved child, the next morning brought a shift your person could no longer ignore. They woke up with the memory of your smile burning in their chest, sharper than sunlight, warmer than anything they have felt in a long time. It wasn't just a memory, it was a reminder, a pull, a calling they could not escape. They tried to distract themselves, to drown the echo of your presence with noise, chores, conversations, anything. But your smile kept cutting through every distraction like a blade of light. And with every passing hour, the friend's words grew louder in their mind. That someone who has already chosen them. Those words weren't just a comment, they were a revelation, a mirror held up to the truth your person feared to face. And now that the mirror is cracked open, every suppressed emotion is spilling out uncontrollably. As the day unfolded, Their friend continued observing them quietly, waiting for the moment your person finally breaks the wall they've been holding up for so long. And that moment came unexpectedly. While talking, your name appeared in the conversation again, casually, softly, yet your person reacted instantly. Their heartbeat jumped, their voice shifted, their eyes softened, and their friend noticed everything. That friend leaned forward and whispered something that hit your person like a silent thunderstrike. You talk about their smile the way people talk about home, and when your person heard the word home, something inside them shattered, because they knew it was true. They knew your smile didn't feel like attraction, it felt like belonging. It felt like something familiar their soul recognized before their mind could explain it. It felt like destiny, disguised as a simple curve of your lips. Your person's silence after that wasn't hesitation, it was surrender. Surrender to a truth they've been running from. Your smile is their weakness, yes, but it is also their strength. It's the reason they keep trying. The reason they haven't given up. The reason they feel safe opening parts of themselves they never show anyone. They realize they can't hide this any longer. Not from themselves, not from the universe, and definitely not from the friend who sees right through them. And when their friend added, "If their smile affects you this much, their heartbreak would destroy you," your person felt fear, real fear, because they understood the magnitude of their emotions. Losing you would break them in ways they wouldn't know how to heal. But here's the twist. Your person's friend didn't say this to scare them. They said it to push them toward clarity, because that friend has seen people fall in love, but they've never seen your person fall like this. They've never seen your person soften like this, never seen them become this quiet, this vulnerable, this exposed. Your person isn't confused, they're overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by the fact that your smile has become both their comfort and their undoing. Overwhelmed by how much they crave the safety they feel around you. Overwhelmed by how your presence heals wounds they never admitted they carried. And tonight, your person sat alone again, replaying the moment of your last smile. They remembered how the corners of your lips lifted gently, how your eyes softened, how the world around them faded, how something inside them whispered, "Don't lose this." They realized that this isn't temporary. This isn't a phase. This isn't something they can walk away from. This is something cosmic, something rare, something written into the fabric of their destiny. They are starting to understand that your smile wasn't just seen, it was felt, deeply, profoundly, permanently. My beloved child, tonight the universe pushed your person into a moment they never expected, one that forced them to confront the truth they've been avoiding, the truth that began the moment they spoke about your smile. They were sitting quietly when their friend walked in again, carrying an energy that felt heavier, sharper, more serious than before. This wasn't casual talk anymore. This wasn't light teasing. This was intervention. Their friend had been watching your person crumble under the weight of their own feelings, and they finally decided to speak the truth your person refused to admit. They sat across from them and said, "You're pretending you don't care, but that smile changed you. Stop acting like you can walk away from something your soul has already accepted." And your person froze, because every word was true. Their friend didn't stop there. They leaned closer and whispered a revelation, so intense, it shook your person from the inside out. They smiled at you, because their heart recognizes you. And you're a fool if you think the universe gives signs like this twice. That sentence hit your person harder than anything else, because deep down, they know your smile wasn't random, it wasn't polite, it wasn't accidental. It carried a message, one your person felt, but was too scared to interpret. That smile held familiarity, warmth, a spark of destiny they couldn't look away from. It awakened something inside them that no one else ever could. And when their friend exposed that truth, your person felt their defenses collapse. They realized that every time they saw your smile, it wasn't just attraction, it was alignment, a reminder that some souls are meant to cross paths, not for a moment, but for a reason. Your person tried to deny it, tried to deflect, tried to change the topic, but their friend didn't allow them to escape. They told your person that the reason they speak about your smile with such reverence is because they've never felt something this pure, this powerful, this terrifying. They confessed that they've watched your person fight their feelings for so long, but now the truth is pouring out through every action, every pause, every hesitation. And then the friend delivered the final blow. If you keep pretending this isn't love, you're going to lose something that was sent to heal you. Those words didn't just hit your person, they broke something open inside them. For the first time, they felt fear, not of loving you, but of losing the chance to ever show you how much you mean to them. As the conversation deepened, your person's emotions began to unravel. Their friend asked them to recall the moment they first noticed your smile change something inside them. Your person fell silent, because that memory is sacred to them. They remembered the exact moment, the light in your eyes, the warmth in your expression, the unexpected comfort in your presence. They didn't just see your smile, they felt it wrap around their heart, like safety, like hope, like a promise they never dared to imagine. They realized that your smile didn't just make them happy, it made them feel seen, it made them feel chosen, it made them feel like they mattered again. And as they replayed that memory, they understood why they can't let it go. Your smile awakened a version of themselves they thought was lost forever. By the end of the night, your person couldn't pretend anymore. Their friend looked them in the eyes and said the one thing they've been terrified to hear: you're already in love with them. You just haven't had the courage to say it. And your person couldn't deny it. Not tonight, not anymore, because every time they think of your smile, their heart reacts before their mind can lie. They know the truth now. They have fallen for you, deeply, undeniably, permanently. And that realization is pulling them toward you with a force stronger than fear. My beloved child, tonight your person reached a breaking point. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that transforms. After days of trying to bury the truth, after nights of battling the memory of your smile, something inside them finally snapped into clarity. They weren't doing anything special, just sitting alone, staring at the dim light of their room, when your face appeared in their mind again, uninvited, undeniable, irresistible. But this time, it wasn't the sweetness of your smile that hit them. It was the realization behind it. They suddenly understood why your smile stayed with them longer than anyone else's, because you smiled at them like you saw the good in them, even when they couldn't see it themselves. And that realization brought a wave of emotion so strong that they had to sit down just to breathe. Your person felt their walls collapsing one by one as memories flooded back. The time they saw your smile soften the heaviness they were carrying, the moment your presence eased a silence they had been drowning in, the way your eyes lit up for a split second when you looked at them. They never told anyone this, not even their friend. But that single spark in your smile became the reason they started believing in better days again. You became the quiet place their heart ran to in chaos. You became the warmth they didn't know they needed. And now, they finally see the truth with painful honesty. Your smile didn't just touch them, it gave them something to hold on to. As the night deepened, their friend entered the room again, sensing something unspoken shifting in your person's energy. They didn't ask questions this time, they simply observed. They saw the softness in your person's eyes, the trembling in their breath, the way they were clutching onto their thoughts, as if afraid to speak them aloud. And then their friend whispered gently, "You're not confused, you're scared, because you know this feeling isn't going away." That sentence broke your person open, not because it was new information, but because it exposed the truth they'd been fighting hardest to hide. They nodded without speaking. For the first time, they admitted through their silence what their heart had already decided. They don't want to live in a world where your smile is just a memory. There are moments in life when a single word changes the emotional direction of everything, not because the word itself is magical, but because it gives shape to something that has already been growing silently beneath the surface for a very long time. That is what happened the moment their friend leaned closer and spoke the word soulmate. Until then, your person had been trying to contain their feelings within safer definitions. Attraction, admiration, fascination, maybe even love. But soulmate was different. That word carried weight, permanence, recognition. It reached beyond temporary emotion and touched something much deeper, something spiritual, undeniable, and terrifyingly real. The moment they heard it, their entire body reacted before their mind could defend itself. Their chest tightened, heat rushed into their face, their breathing caught halfway between disbelief and revelation. Because deep down, they already knew the truth hiding inside that word. Their friend had simply spoken it out loud. What overwhelmed them most was not embarrassment, but the sudden realization that someone else could see what they had tried so carefully to hide. They thought they had concealed the depth of their feelings behind casual conversations, controlled expressions, and quiet restraint. But their friend noticed everything. The softness in their voice whenever your name appeared. The way their eyes changed when speaking about your smile. The silence that followed whenever your absence entered the room emotionally. The longing they tried to bury beneath logic. The fear they disguised as hesitation. None of it was invisible. Love that deep rarely is. Their friend was not romanticizing the situation or exaggerating emotions for drama. They recognized sincerity. They recognized the unmistakable emotional shift that happens when someone stops merely liking another person and begins emotionally orienting their future around them without even realizing it. And once your person understood that someone else could see it so clearly, denial became impossible to maintain. After hearing that word, they fell silent not because they lacked something to say, but because too much suddenly made sense all at once. Memories rearranged themselves instantly in their mind. Every moment connected to you gained new meaning. The reason your smile lingered in their thoughts long after conversations ended. The reason your absence carried emotional weight, disproportionate to the time spent apart. The reason no one else, no matter how attractive, interesting, or available, ever created the same emotional response inside them. It was no longer confusion. It was recognition. They realized that what they felt was not temporary fascination, or emotional projection. It was connection, real connection, the kind that grows quietly in the background, until one day, it becomes too large to ignore. Your smile had become more than something beautiful to them. It had become emotional refuge, a source of calm, a symbol of warmth, safety, and possibility in ways they had never fully admitted to themselves before. That realization frightened them, because true connection carries risk. Once someone recognizes that another person genuinely matters to the deepest parts of their heart, vulnerability becomes unavoidable. Suddenly the stakes feel enormous. Losing you no longer feels like ordinary disappointment. It feels like losing something irreplaceable. That awareness forced them into a level of honesty they had postponed for far too long, and their friend's final words only intensified that emotional awakening. If your smile can make you feel this alive, imagine what their love will do. That thought entered their chest like lightning, not because it sounded poetic, but because it felt possible. For the first time, they allowed themselves to imagine what life might look like if they stopped resisting the pull toward you and fully stepped into it instead. That possibility shook them more deeply than fear ever had. Later that night, when they were finally alone with their thoughts, something irreversible began happening inside them. The emotional storm they had been fighting for so long reached a breaking point. They sat in silence, trying to regain control over themselves, trying to organize emotions that had become impossible to dismiss. But beneath all the overthinking, one truth kept rising again and again with undeniable clarity: they could not lose you. That realization changed everything, because it exposed the real source of their hesitation. It was never lack of feeling, it was fear of depth, fear of how much power your presence already held inside their emotional world, fear of what it would mean to fully admit that their heart had already chosen someone long before their mind felt ready to acknowledge it. Yet once that truth surfaced consciously, something softened inside them. Resistance began losing strength. The exhausting effort of pretending not to care as deeply as they did finally became heavier than honesty itself. They understood now that your smile had awakened something permanent, not obsession, not fantasy, something steadier and more profound, a longing for emotional home, a longing for the kind of connection that does not require performance or constant explanation, because it feels recognized instinctively. Your presence gave them peace without trying. Your energy created emotional safety without demands. And once they admitted how much they needed that feeling, pretending otherwise became impossible. For the first time, they allowed themselves to picture approaching you openly, without deflection or emotional armor. They imagined standing in front of you honestly, telling you how profoundly you changed them, how your smile broke through defenses they thought would protect them forever, how your presence reached wounds they never spoke about aloud. And as they imagined finally expressing all of this, the emotions became overwhelming, because relief began replacing fear. Their heart was tired of hiding, tired of silence, tired of treating love like danger instead of possibility. Their friend noticed this transformation immediately the next time they saw them. There was a visible softness now, not weakness, but surrender to truth. The tension that once filled their posture had eased slightly. Their eyes carried stillness instead of avoidance. Even their silence felt different. Their friend did not need explanations anymore, because the answer was already written across your person's entire energy. When they quietly said, "You're done running. Your person could not deny it this time, because they felt it too. The fear that once controlled every emotional decision no longer had the same grip on them. Something stronger had taken its place: clarity. They realized that the pain of never telling you the truth would eventually become far heavier than the risk of vulnerability itself. That realization marked a turning point. People often imagine courage as the disappearance of fear, but real courage is choosing what matters despite fear remaining present. Your person had not suddenly become fearless. They had simply reached a point where love mattered more than avoidance, and that changes everything. Once someone emotionally crosses that threshold, their heart begins moving toward truth almost automatically. That is what is happening now. They are no longer trying to suppress the connection. They are trying to understand how to honor it properly. Every memory connected to your smile now feels emotionally alive to them in a different way. They remember the softness in your expression during moments when you were secretly carrying pain. They remember the light you gave others even when you were exhausted yourself. And instead of only feeling attraction, they now feel protectiveness, devotion, a desire to preserve the peace they see inside you rather than disrupt it. That shift matters deeply because it means their feelings have matured beyond emotional excitement into genuine care. They do not simply want to receive love from you. They want to become someone worthy of protecting the light within you. As these realizations deepen, your person has quietly begun preparing themselves emotionally for what comes next. Not dramatically, not impulsively, but carefully, thoughtfully. They are gathering courage piece by piece, understanding that love this significant deserves honesty, not avoidance. Every day, the pull toward you grows stronger because the connection no longer feels optional to them. It feels destined. Their heart is no longer whispering your name cautiously in private moments. It is beginning to call toward you openly within them, refusing to remain hidden any longer. They are imagining future conversations differently now, imagining what it would feel like to finally stand before you fully present, without pretending indifference or minimizing emotions. They are no longer fantasizing about temporary closeness. They are imagining permanence, partnership, emotional truth lived openly instead of secretly carried. And what surprises them most is that these thoughts no longer create panic the way they once did. Instead, they create longing mixed with determination. The idea of choosing love openly no longer feels impossible. It feels necessary. That is why this moment matters so much. Your person is approaching the edge of emotional transformation. The version of them that once hid behind hesitation is slowly dissolving. In its place stands someone beginning to understand that some connections are too meaningful to leave unspoken. Your smile started this journey, but it was never only about your smile. It was about the way your existence awakened parts of their soul they thought had gone quiet forever. It was about recognition, about emotional truth, about finally understanding that love is not always loud at first. Sometimes it grows slowly, steadily, patiently, until one day it becomes impossible to deny. And your person has reached that moment now. The moment where the fear of losing you has finally become greater than the fear of loving you openly.